Well, good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are, because I know some of you folks are in the other side of the world. Some of you watch the replay. I love each and every one of you for taking some time out of your day or night or evening to come check us out. I mean, there's so many choices out there, and you have chosen to hang out with us for a little bit. So welcome. It is so good to see each and every one of you right now. It is 8 a.m. on the 29th of February. No, March. I'll get it right here in a minute. And it's so good to have each and every one of you, as I just mentioned. I'm a hot mess, as always. Anyway, I have brought along my friend Barry from Barry Quilts. He is a fairly new quilter. He has a wonderful channel. If you haven't checked it out already, please do so. I have also, we're going to try out the new bot because my friend Nightbot has not been my friend. And hopefully this will kick into gear, and it doesn't look like it is. Okay. Oh, that's disappointing. Anyway, so we'll move on without that. But anyway, I'm going to let Barry introduce himself, just let him talk about himself just a little bit and what he does and how long he's been quilting and that sort of thing. So over to you.
All right. Well, my name is Barry. I'm 61 years old. I live in Ohio in the U.S. and I've only been quilting since just a little bit past Thanksgiving, so about a little over 4 months. The reason I started this was I was looking for a hobby that I could do year round and that intrigued me. And I've always loved quilts, and I've always fascinated by the different designs. And so I just started buying some fabric and watching YouTube videos and started making my first half square triangles. And after that, I was sort of hooked.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think your story is kind of similar to mine. I mean, I saw some quilts at the what's it called? The state fair back in 2013. And I was like, I want to try this. So I think it's neat that, there's folks out there like yourself that just said, hey, this is fun. Let me try it. And you've been doing such a wonderful job. I've loved watching your channel. I don't get over there as often as I'd like to because it's just never enough hours in the day. And I've heard that's even worse once you retire. But I get around as much as I can. But Barry has some wonderful content. So yeah, definitely go check it out. It looks like Nightbot is not Nightbot. The bot is working somewhat. I have not put everybody's things in already. I'm still working on transferring all the links over. So some of them will work, some of them will not. I'm just testing out a few. But we do have a new feature that will hopefully work in just a moment. We're doing some testing. So I tried testing it last night on an unlisted live, but it doesn't work unless it's public. So it's kind of building the plane as we fly. So where are we going with this? A lot of folks are coming in saying hi to everybody. The chat is absolutely moving and flying and everything else here. So let's see if we can say hi to everyone that's here. We'll try. Melanie Taylor is here. Good morning. Good morning to Donna. Brenda is here. Good morning to you. Annette, good morning. Brenda has some retail therapy to do today. The local shop has a 5th Saturday bag. I get 25% off all she can get in. Okay, so if you're in the Louisville area, get up with Brenda and find out where that shop is. There we go. Okay, Joyce is here. Good morning to you. Annette, we've already said hi to. Sandy, good morning to you. Good morning to Miss Tasha. I don't have your link in yet, but we'll get to you soon. Annette, good morning. I think we already said good morning. Pat Wainwright. I'll get it right here in a minute. Thank you. Good morning to be alive, even though it's cloudy with some rain showers in the southern tier of New York. That's good. Yeah, it's supposed to be nice and warm here today. I think we're supposed to be up in the mid to high 70s here in Virginia. So it's going to be a beautiful day. We got to go do some fun activities afterwards. So it's a great day for it to be nice and warm. So Laurie Colgan, it was interesting. I was talking to a customer at work the other day who's up there in Canada, and she was telling me on Thursday, I think it was, that they were getting their first snow for the winter. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. Because it was like 70 degrees down here that day. Let's see. Good morning, Mike. It's good to see you. Michelle the Quilter is here. Joyce, good morning to you as well. Jeannie E is here. Miss Sandy, Pat Strawhouse is here. Good morning to you. Patricia is here. Molly, good morning. Good morning. Mimi Sewing Studio says hello from Michigan. So Blessed by Jess is here with us as well. I think Jess's link is in. I'm going to try that. I'm testing stuff out. So there we are. Deb S, the Pug Mum Quilter is here. Good morning to you. I'm pretty sure we have your link in as well. I started the alphabet. I got to like J. I think that's where I stopped last night because I didn't want to finish it, and then realized this new bot wasn't going to work. So I threw some stuff in just to see what would happen, and it looks like it's kicking along. So let's talk about the new bot we have for anyone that's kind of new to this, and this only works during the live itself. Is the bot will throw out the links to people's channels. If you have a channel, you're more than welcome to put your channel link in. It should be exclamation point and your first name. Now, the other fun function we have here now is we have games that you can play whilst you watch the live. You'll earn a certain number of what they call, I think I've called them chips, during the live, and then you can play games. If you're familiar with Danny over at So Not an Expert, it's exactly the same as what she has. You can play slots, you can play, there's a heist, there's also a 100-sided die you can throw and try and win chips, that sort of thing there. I think we've got it set up that you get 5 or 50 chips, or there's a certain amount you get for every 55 minutes you're here. But apparently how it works is with YouTube is you have to be actually active in the chat for those chips to count. It's all new. I just figured it'd be a fun way for you guys to have something to do while you listen to us as well. It works beautifully on Danny's channel. I have fun with it over on her channel. So I thought, why not? Let's try it and see what happens here. So if I put in slots, for instance, for me, I hope I have some chips to work with. It will throw something up here, and hopefully it'll give me the results. Okay. And I lost my 10 chips. Oh, well. That is for fun. There's no physical prizes. We figured we'd just do it for some fun. Maybe we'll do some prizes in the future to start earning them. Just have some fun with it. But there you go. So Melanie's putting in she's putting in a thing there. Okay, anyway. So that's that. Play with it. You'll have fun with it. And if you can't remember what games there is, you can put an exclamation point games. It'll tell you which ones we have. And then there you go. Dragonfly Sedona says, do they have to make your own Fat Quarter game? No, they do not, sadly, but there you go. So, where are we going? Barry, did you bring something along to sew with us this morning?
I brought a whole bunch of 5-inch squares I'm going to draw to make half-inch triangles with, half-square triangles.
Oh, nice.
It's quiet that way.
It is. It's always good to have that sort of, sometimes it's good to have something easy and not. I have trouble doing something very difficult on a live. Like, I love my Art East projects, I love my Elizabeth Hartman projects, and I do them on a live on occasion, but it's not something I do all the time because there's a lot of brain power. You're watching the chat, you're chatting with my guest and that. So I have decided to bring along my gnome, which I started last week. If you watched the podcast last week, you would have noticed that I had some stuff upside down and backwards. I spent a lot of time with my very, very bestest friend, Jack the Seam Ripper, last night, and we've got it back where it's supposed to be, and I've actually added an extra row. So we'll see how far we get with it. Someone suggested to me last week is to put each row's stuff in a little package so I don't get us confused, and that's going to work out beautifully, I think. So that's what we're going to go with. So I've talked about that. We've also, let's see, I'm not doing too great this morning. I'm sorry.
All right. Like I said,
everyone still enjoys it. So
I've got 120 half-square triangles I need to make for my new quilt I'm working on. So
nice. So you said you've been quilting now for about four months or so. What sort of quilts have you made?
I've only made one queen. I just finished it up. I made it from beginning to end. I quilted it and everything. And, you don't realize until after you've done that, the joy you get by waking up with something you made, keeping you warm at night. That's a great feeling.
Yeah, I have not done that yet because my wife and I, we have a king size bed, so that's an enormous quilt to quilt. And the other thing is too, like when I started quilting, we had just gotten a new puppy, little Finley, and she liked to chew holes in everything. She self-soothed by chewing. So I've got a t-shirt quilt that is king size. Well, basically, I got to put one more row on it because it was a little short. And I was like, I'm not putting this together and quilting it and then waking up one morning and finding there's a hole in the middle of my favorite t-shirt. So that might have to be a project for me to do soon. But I'm super proud of you and impressed that you started off with a queen size quilt. My first quilt was a little lap quilt. I can actually see the quilt top over here because I made two of them. I had the bright idea of doing a double-sided quilt, which I very quickly decided wasn't such a smart idea. So I actually made one of the quilts I used one of the quilt tops with some regular backing and sent it off to my niece, and then the other side of that quilt top is still here. And I like to look at it once in a while and just look back at where I started. And
well, I like to say that I don't know what I don't know. So everything that I do is the first time I've done something, which is sort of fun. It doesn't get boring. And
no.
So yeah, everything, whether I make a pot holder is the first time I ever made a pot holder. So I'm enjoying, I just enjoy this. This has turned out to be the greatest hobby that I could pick.
That's awesome to hear. And that's how I feel too. Like I've tried different things, I've tried different crafts, I've tried different sports and that sort of thing there. And I've enjoyed quite a few of them, but yeah, this is the one that's really stuck with me.
Yeah. I tried woodworking. I hate to admit it, but I'm terrified of a table saw. I've made some bird houses. I've tried to make some tables, and I was like, that's just not for me. I made candles, but it seemed like that was just a hot mess.
Yeah, literally, figuratively, for sure.
And so, like I said, this has caught my attention, and like I said, I can't foresee me not doing this because it's been so it's relaxing. Just sitting here, I love making half square triangles. I hate to tell you that, but it's my favorite thing to do.
Don't tell people that too loud, otherwise you may find a lot of fabrics hitting your doorstep with instructions on how to make it for them. Because I think that's like I enjoy them too. I don't mind doing them. But it seems like that's one of those things that people either are really good at and enjoy it, or they don't like at all and try and avoid like the plague. So yeah, just don't give out your address to too many people if you can avoid it, because yeah, that might be dangerous. All right, so we've got that. Okay, so Sweet Granny is asking what machine I got. I did release a video earlier this week showcasing it, but since pretty much everyone's seen that already, I did get a Farf Ambition 620. I had originally purchased a Farf Passport 3.0, which is a smaller machine, but it ended up being on back order. So I reached out to the quilt shop and asked them about possible upgrades and the difference in price. And they very kindly offered me this machine, which retails for several $100s more, for the same price if I was willing to take a class used machine, which had been used a couple of times in a class. And I was like, that's an absolutely fantastic deal. I'm not going to say no to that. And so they shipped it out to me, and because they also looked it over again, made sure it was working perfectly, everything was included. So I actually had them, the machine was checked twice, once at the factory, once again at the quilt shop. They shipped it out last Friday night in Pennsylvania. It was on my doorstep here in Virginia 14 hours later. I mean, that was just absolutely incredible. And it's just been a wonderful machine. I can't tell it's ever been used. Like if they had just put it in a box and told me it was brand new, I wouldn't have known any difference. So, yeah, if you ever get a chance to buy a class used machine from a reputable dealer at a reduced price, I say go for it. I've done it. I've been very, very happy and pleased with the result. And yeah, this has just been a wonderful machine to work with. So, but yeah, if you haven't checked out that video, go ahead and do so. And it's like a 7-minute video. It's not very long. And I go into more detail as to why I chose this machine and the features I like about it. It's trying to eat my fabric right now for some reason, but that's okay. Good morning, Leanne. It's good to see you. I think I have your link in this already. We've gone to a new bot. Nightbot quit working on me last 2 weeks. That was 2 strikes. I wasn't going to give it a 3rd strike. So we've now moved over to Streamlabs, and so far it's working beautifully. I haven't got everybody's link in yet, but since it's now working, I'll go ahead this week and make sure they are all in before the next live. So what machine do you have there, Barry?
I have the Juki TL 2000 QI.
Oh,
And
nice.
I bought it because I didn't know what I didn't know. But I wish I would have spent a little bit of money and got the 210 model that has the speed control. But other than that, I'm very happy with it. It does one thing and it does it very well, and that's so straight lines.
That's awesome. Tasha asked me what I'm working on. She thinks she missed it. I am continuing on the gnome that I turned upside down while I'm Australian. So, I'm going to use that excuse. And we'll just continue on that one there. I started off on a Brother, I think it was a 2600i. It was a entry-level machine. I think it was like $80 from Amazon back in the day, and it worked beautifully for 11 years. So this is like the first, well, I've got the Benina as well that I picked up from a lady at church. But this is like my first like fancy machine because it's got like the automatic, it's got the shred snips and it does all the cool stuff as well. It does have a speed control, although like I learned without a speed control and did just fine. And in some ways, I think it's good for you to learn without it. So that way, if you ever have to use another machine without it, you're okay. You're not relying on that crutch. So I think, in some respects, it's probably a good thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the only thing the speed control was hard on is if you're going to try to free motion. If you're not going to do that, then the speed control is not that big a deal.
That's true.
So
it is nice having a speed control as well, because like when I teach someone new how to sew, I never taught them on the Brother machine because that foot pedal was a little sensitive. Like I was used to it and I had no problem with it, but trying to teach someone new was a little difficult. Whereas I could turn the speed control on the Benina that I have behind me and teach someone, I could just turn it way down and say, okay, look, just go to town, and you'll do just fine. And then this one here, it has a start-stop button as well. So I can actually just turn it all the way down, tell them to put the fabric underneath and hit the start button. And then all they have to do is like watch the fabric as well. So I don't think I've used the start-stop function yet. I guess because I'm so used to not having to use it, but I'm sure it'll come in handy at some point. They wouldn't include it if you didn't need it, right?
Well, yeah, that's like this machine has the foot pedal that can cut thread, and I found out that I kept cutting my thread every time I tried to sew something, whether I wanted to or not. So I'm gonna get this. If anybody has this problem, they make this little foot that you can put on the bottom of it to keep from doing that, and that's what I use. I don't like to continually cut my thread by accident.
Yeah, no, thankfully for me to cut the thread, I have to hit this little scissor button, which is up like towards the top of the machine. So I can't accidentally hit it. And I think that was a genius move for that. So that's good to know. I'm just looking at all my questions that I usually ask folks for the first time. So you said you like doing a lot of half square triangles. Do you like to follow a pattern, or do you prefer to just like make stuff up as you go along?
I'm a go as I go along. I started out on my first quilt. I just started out with a 9-patch, just solid blocks, and then I moved over to doing what they call it, just different little patterns with half square triangles and just start. I think my first quilt was a sampler quilt. I didn't know what it was called at the time, but it turned out to be a sampler quilt where I tried to progress each block a little harder. And so yeah, half square triangles are my favorite. I'm trying to learn flying geese. They're not as forgiving as the half square triangles.
My advice with that, and I did this totally by accident. I got really, 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 really good at half square triangles, and then I started the flying geese, and I picked it up like that. So I think if you wait until you get like exceptionally good at half square triangles, I think, and it depends on the person too, because I've heard some people have been doing it for a while and still struggle with the flying geese. But I think if you get really, really good at the half square triangles, I think that will give you a lot of the base. how to get good at that too. And it took me a while to get good at the half square triangles. These projects here with the pre-cut fabric has done a wonderful job. And then there's some other projects I did earlier in my sewing thing that helped me out as well. So
I was going to answer Sandy. I
oh,
got
thank you.
that.
Yeah.
I got that at Juki Junkies, by the way.
They're a fun bunch. Yeah, I met them at the
I really enjoy
Mid-Atlantic
watching
show.
them. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was saying I got to meet them at the Mid-Atlantic Quilt Show last year. I was hoping they'd be back again this year, but they weren't there, unfortunately. But yeah, they are a fun bunch. If you have any questions about the Juki machines or need assistance in that, they are a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful resource, and just good people as well. I mean, I don't have a Juki, and I still hung up with them for like 45 minutes just chatting and stuff. So there you go. Joyce says it took her a while to get the hang of the foot cutter. And that's something I meant to tell you earlier too, Barry, is if you see questions in the chat, please feel free to answer them.
Okay.
I always get to tell people that, you know, some folks are like, I don't know if I can do that because I'm not the host. Yeah, go right for it. I miss stuff. So yeah, don't hesitate to do that. Lisa says Barry's doing an excellent job as a newbie. His videos are very informative and fun dad jokes, and that's what drew me to him as well. Like I just thought it was just you're just fun. Like you're just you. Like you don't try to do anything fancy. And I think a lot of people can relate to you because you are new and you're kind of learning as they go along, and it's not as intimidating. You know, sometimes you see folks that have got everything perfectly aligned and everything else, and that can be intimidating for some folks. So I think it's good that you're doing it this way, and it's a fun, like you said, the fun journal and just chronicling that is fun too. That's one of the I like to look back on my stuff and see where I came from too, and it's kind of like a video log for me.
Oh yeah. Well, I've been watching back on some of my old videos, and they're sort of cringy.
Oh, me too. Yeah. I mean, but you've got to learn somewhere. Like, yeah, I look at my old videos and I was like, what in the heck was I doing? But you have to learn. Like, you're not going to start on this on day one unless you've gone to like video production school for 4 years and learn how to do it all. And then, so there you go. Kathy says something that helped me with flying geese is don't cut the wings until you press your flat back. Make sure things are squared up. That's a good tip. Very good tip. And I found too, for me, because when you do your flying geese, are they just strictly triangles, or do they have like the little corners?
Oh, I'm doing the little, well, I don't know, the 2.5, and then the 2.5 little squares, and then I cut. You got to do. I'm doing them one at a time. I don't know if that. I tried to do them multiple ways, but one at a time seemed to be the funnest and the easiest for me.
Yeah, I agree. For me, it too. Like sometimes if I see instructions where it says like do 8 at a time or something like that, I disregard that and figure out how to do it one at a time. I'm definitely more a one at a time guy. It does waste a little more fabric, but for me, it's what I'm used to. It's what I like. It's what I enjoy. And at the end of the day, this is my craft time. I have enough stress at work without having to induce more stress here in the sewing room. So yeah, I mean, I totally get that. But then there's others that enjoy doing it 4 at a time, 2 at a time, 8 at a time as well. And if that works for you, that is fantastic. You know, don't ever think that I'm telling you doing it wrong, because what works for me may not work for you.
Yeah. Well, I haven't tried, like Tasha said, try 2 at a time. Maybe I will. I just haven't learned that technique yet.
Yeah, definitely. And then look at several videos. Like I always find, and this is great information for everybody, if you're looking for a tutorial, look at like I always like to go watch 3, 4, 5, 6 different videos, because like if let's say I go visit Becca and she does wonderful tutorials. Her tutorial on one thing might be fantastic for me, but for something else, I may go to another content creator. And because we all teach differently, we all learn differently. So it doesn't, and it's not going to offend me if you watch my tutorial for one thing, but you go watch someone else for something else, because I do my best and teach the way that I think is right, but it's not going to resonate with everybody. So definitely take your time, research, watch some videos. You don't have to, if it's not gelling for you, you don't have to watch the whole thing. You can go check something else out. Just hit the like button on the way up. And there you go. So good morning to Aaron Fruiter. It's good to see you. I think I said good morning, everybody. I hope I didn't miss anybody. I'm almost out of coffee. That's sad. Leanne says, I still cringe at my current videos. I'm critical of myself. Yes, we are. I think we're all our own worst critics. You know, I come on here every week and I think to myself, I'm an absolute hot mess, but everybody always tells me that their lives are wonderful. They really enjoyed them and they keep coming back. So I must be doing something right. I must be doing something right. Ruth Roberts says, good morning. I think we can all learn from each other, and some of the newer quilters can discover some creative new techniques we can all learn from. Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's really neat that we can all do that. Yes, and prep for eternity. Homestead says you may get that one little tip from a video that makes all the difference. Yes, thank you. That's what I was trying to get through, and I wasn't doing a very good job at it. I sometimes watch several videos so I can get that one little nugget of information that kind of makes it click for me. So that is definitely very, very true. Good morning to Sean from Lolly Lasagna. He says, good morning. I'll be in and out. It's good to see you here as well. Mike. Yeah, Mike says, Barry, learning is the fun. Yeah, I'm always learning. I think we all do. Like, I don't think it matters if you've been learning for 4 months, 6 months, 10 years. We're always learning something. So that's all excellent. Jen says we all learn differently. Looking at different videos, books allows us to get something that makes sense to us. Absolutely. Good morning to Miss Joyce. Yeah, so that's, all information. I love your shirt, by the way, with the whiskey on it.
Oh. Thank you to Coles.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we
I'm not too fancy a shopper.
Oh, me either. Most of my shirts now are sewing related. It makes because I'm notoriously difficult to buy for Christmas. So now my family just knows, just go buy a sewing shirt that isn't super girly, and
that's on my list.
Sorry.
That's on my list. Next time I get to a quilt show or something that sells shirts, I'm gonna get me some.
Yeah, if you can find it, what's the name of the place now? If I could look at the back of my T-shirt, I could tell you. I'll send the information to you. There's a really neat vendor that goes around some of the quilt shows that I got to meet this year, and this is one of their shirts. And they have some a really nice line designed for men, and I'm just trying to remember their name now. It's Gold. I can't remember. I'll email you the information to them anyway. But they've got some really neat stuff. I know they're coming into Richmond in June. If you're able to make it up, well, Richmond might be a hike from Ohio, but they're actually based in Michigan, so you may actually see them somewhere around you in the near future as well. But yeah, there's some really good stuff. Like a few years ago, it was almost impossible to find like a T-shirt for a guy at a quilt show, and now they're becoming more and more popular.
I didn't get them in my size. That's another thing.
This company said they can do they told me I can do tall. They can do. They actually had. I think they went up to at least 3XL at the store. But she said if you needed a special size, she could make that for you. So if you ask, I'm sure they can work that stuff out for you, which is really neat. So that's good.
I wanted to show Janice. Janice, I got my 501 book.
Oh, nice.
501 quilt blocks. That's a good resource.
Yeah, I've heard that's a good book. I've got to pull out one of these days. Someone gave me a book years ago when I first started sewing. It was like 300 and some different paper piecing patterns, and I really should pull that out and play with that one day. Ruth said, did someone say something about Richmond, Virginia? Yes, I did. Road to California, which is a fairly big show out on the West Coast that's been established for many years, as far as I can remember. They're actually coming to the East Coast for the first time. It's called Road to Virginia. It's going to be at the Richmond Convention Center. It's the last weekend in, last Friday. I think it's like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in June. So I'm super excited about that. I'll be traveling up there on the Saturday to hang out. So if you are able to make it to that show, definitely let me know ahead of time. I might do we'll work out something where we can maybe do like a meet and greet. I've never been to the Richmond Convention Center, so I don't know much about it, but that's gonna be a lot of fun. And that says, did you say that Quilty Shirt Company is in Michigan? Yes, they are in Michigan. Let me go try and find them real quick. It's like Goldilocks or something. I'm terrible of names. Gotta find it. Hang on a second. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, no, it's not that. No. Oh, Goldie Lou. That's what it's called. Okay. Thank you. Goldie Lou. All right, let's just grab their link real quick. They do have some nice stuff for the ladies as well. So if you don't want a more masculine shirt, you are not out of luck. All right. And the people that run it are just fantastic. It's Miss Heather, and I forget the gentleman's name. They are just wonderful people. I think I stood around and talked to them at the quilt show for quite some time, and they were just really, really neat. Donnell's asking, am I coming to Michigan? No plans anytime soon, but if I do, you'll be the first one to know, I promise. But yeah, no current plans to make it to Michigan. So, but I'll never say never. There we go. All right. Good morning, Ingrid. It's good to see you. Good morning to Mr. Russ. It's good to see you. Your link is not currently working, but I'll get that up next week. We did switch over to Streamlabs since I basically fired Nightbot because they weren't working. So there you go. Do you have a favorite quilt that you've made? Like you said, you've only made a few, I assume, but is there one that you currently working favorite?
I've made one full-size quilt, and then I made a table runner, and that's sort of what I'm doing now is a variation of the table runner that I did. I'm going to add that in my quilt. And then I've done a couple of little wall hangings. That's fairly much it.
Okay, that's still good progress. I think it took me like 3 or 4 months to get my first quilt done, and it was like a patchwork quilt. I did 6.5-inch squares. I figured I had nobody to teach me except for YouTube University,
right?
And nobody I knew around me, like none of my family, none of my friends knew how to sew or quilt. So I was like, I've got to do something easy so I don't get discouraged and so I don't give up. And so I figured let's just do something easy, and that way I can kind of get myself some confidence, and then we can figure out something a little bit easier as well. So Russ is asking, fired for not working. Did Nightbot at least go through all the HR rules like a PIP and that? No, I think if you don't show up to work twice in a row, that means that you don't care anymore. So yeah, goodbye Nightbot. And then the StreamYard, not StreamYards. I'm streaming on StreamYards. I'm using Streamlabs for the chat, like the bot, and it also has some fun games that you can all play as well. So like if you put in points, exclamation point. Oh, that I have to change that to something else. You can see how many chips you have, and then you can play like slots and some other fun stuff as well. So there you go. All right. Lisa's saying, Barry, if you can you show your frame block?
I did. Hi, Lisa. I got this ideal several years ago, and I wanted to see if it would work. So I went and bought these canvas at the hobby, at the craft shop, and I just took one of my quilt blocks and I stapled it to the back of it, and it seems to be doing pretty good. I'm going to put a picture holder on it, and then maybe make several of these and just decorate the wall with them.
I love that idea. I'd never thought about doing that, but that is
I just took staples. I don't know if you can see that, but I just took staples. I'm not very good at I said it's sort of like wrapping Christmas presents to get the corners. I'm not very good at wrapping Christmas presents, but if you do,
I'm terrible at it.
But I thought I wanted to see if this would do anything, and so far it's been a couple of weeks, and it looks perfect. And I was like, can you imagine doing your favorite quilt blocks and just sort of hanging them on the wall? Or if you have a Christmas theme or an Easter theme quilt block, you could just change them out all year long if you wanted to.
And see, I'm thinking about doing something like that and just hanging them up all around the office. You know, like my general manager loves that I put, because actually, like in my cubicle, I have, I think, 3 of my previous state fair entries in my, because it's nice having like a little quilt gallery, but I think having something like that where I can just hang them up on the wall, that would be fantastic. I think that's a really neat idea. Like you could make those and hang them up around your house or give them out as gifts and that sort of thing there as well. So,
Yeah.
Leanne says that apparently if I go to Michigan, I can just stop by her place on the way. Made by Misty says, "Oh my, if you have a chance, I should make a trip to Michigan for the Lilac Festival. It's a wonderful thing. That'd be fun." I've been invited to the Stampede out in Calgary by a customer in the past. That's a bit of a hike.
I like Frankenmuth, if you've ever been to Frankenmuth.
No, I have not, unfortunately.
It's the I think they claim as the world's largest Christmas store, but that little village is neat.
If my wife found out about that, we should probably take us go. Hopefully she's still asleep and hasn't heard that. And where is Frankenmuth? Okay. My geography's a little fuzzy.
It's just a little bit north of Detroit, I believe.
Oh, okay. So that's in Michigan too. Okay. So apparently, I need to go to Michigan at some point in my life. So I would like to go up there all kidding aside, I wouldn't mind going up there one year and doing the half marathon in Detroit, because they have a route that starts in downtown Detroit. It goes over the bridge into Windsor, Ontario, and then back through the tunnels. You actually get to do a race in 2 different countries. And I'm sure for European, and I'm sure for the folks in Europe, they're like, yeah, we can do that all day long. Yeah, you can probably run in 3 countries, but in North America, that's not normally thing. And for me, like just being able to walk or drive or that sort of thing to a different country is a novelty. Because in Australia, where I grew up, driving to another country just isn't possible.
Right.
I mean, so it was really neat. The one time I drove into Canada, like I was like, I'm actually driving to another country. Like this is really neat for me. Like it probably sounds so silly to people, but yeah, it was just one of those things I thought was really, really neat. So
yeah, going over to Windsor.
Yeah, I haven't made it to that side of Ontario. I've been on the east, like I've been over to Niagara Falls, Toronto area. That was a lot of fun. We went to see the falls, and then we stayed a night up in Toronto to go see a Blue Jays game, and that was fun.
Yeah, I love Toronto. That's a nice town.
Yeah, I need to go back there and take a closer look at it, because we basically drove up there with that evening. I took my sister to her first major league game, and then the next day we drove down to Lancaster. So yeah, our visit to Detroit was very, very short, but I would like to get back up there at some point and take a closer look at the place and see all these places that I work with. Because I work with Canadian customers all day. The eastern provinces mostly. Okay, let's see. Bronner's is pure heaven. Okay, so yeah, apparently I need to go to Michigan. But yeah, Donna, I promise I will tell you and everybody else in that area when that's happening, so you are aware. So, all right, what are we doing here? Hang on, I'm going to do this wrong if I'm not careful. There we go. Now we got it right. So do you have any plans for any future quilts after you finish this one? Like, is there do you have a list like I do that's like 50,000 projects long, or are you more controlled than me?
Well, it started out controlled, but I've got, t-shirt quilts I want to make. I've got, my ultimate, and I said this, I think in my last video, was my ultimate goal. I've been fascinated by a wedding ring quilt. And I said, if I can ever get to the point where I could quilt a wedding ring quilt, then I would call myself decent.
Yeah, I haven't done that one yet. Maybe at some point. I think I'm going to cheat. I think what I'll do is I'll just applicate the rings on there and call it a
Yeah,
day. That's kind of my
that could
problem
work.
is I get bored very quickly. I don't like doing the same thing over and over and over again. So my wedding ring quilt might be very small. It may be going on a little canvas board like you just made.
Yeah, yeah. Well, but I have a goal. I'm thinking about doing it this year. And I talked to someone, and I didn't really realize this, that I'm in a unique position where you can critique me all you want, and I will take that critique because I don't know any better. But I was thinking about entering a quilt in a quilt show this year, like at the fair, not to win, but just to say I did it. You know?
Go for it. If you ever, that's something I've told people on this channel multiple times, is if you feel like you want to do it, just do it. You may not win, you may surprise yourself. My first quilt, oh my goodness, that I entered into the state fair, the piecing was not great. The stitching was, yeah, the quilting was fine, but I was like, I'm not gonna, yeah, I was the same way as you. I was like, let me just put it in and see what happens. If I can get some, feedback from the judges, which is one reason people enter, that would be
Yeah.
fantastic. And when I walked up to see my quilt, how it did, it had a third place ribbon on it. And
No
so,
kidding.
yeah, and this was the state,
Oh,
and this was in the, so you may just surprise, like, try not to get yourself, too much hope. Like, 'cause, you don't want to crashing down the earth and disappointing yourself. But yeah, if you feel like you want to do it, go ahead. Especially if you have, are you looking at a county fair or a state fair? Like, which
well,
one were you?
well, I'm near both. I mean, I'm in the county, but the Ohio State Fair is not too far from me, from where I live.
Okay.
And like I said, I think it was just you can check off the list and say go to the fair and just point and say that's my quilt. That's all I want to do. Is just
Yeah.
to say, I did it.
Oh, for sure. I think that's a fantastic goal of yours. I fully
What
support you. I mean, I've got quilt tops here. Actually, there's one that I could probably reach. Like this one here, the Wizard of Oz, that I want to put in the Mid-Atlantic show. Now, that show is like a national show. Like, they have entries from all over the country. This thing, it doesn't matter what I do to it, will not win a ribbon. Like, because the level of competition is just so fierce.
Oh yeah.
I know it's not going to win a ribbon, but I'm like you. I want to put it in there and just be able to walk up there and say, hey, look, this is mine. I just want people to be able to see it
Yeah.
live in action. So, yeah,
Oh,
I
I
think
just
that's
went to a local quilt show last weekend. It was just a local quilting club,
yeah.
and every one of their quilts was 10 times better than I could ever hope to ever be. But I think that's where I have the advantage of being a newbie, is that go ahead and talk about my stitches because I am new. But now, if I was a seasoned professional like most of you, then the critique would be a little bit harsher on you. But when you're new, you expect to get critiqued.
Yeah, but I think we can all benefit from that. Like, yeah, the first time I got my report, like the second year I entered, like the first year was like, it told me that my piecing needed improvement. Like, stuff didn't line up. And I'm like, okay, look, Blind Freddy could have told me that, so that's all they told me. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, and I was excited that they like, because I was always like worried about, is my binding good enough? And I figured they'd ding me on that. No, they love the bind. Well, except in Virginia, they want you to stitch down the back of the mitered corners. Don't ask me why. This is something they do. But other than that, like, they love the binding. They always say it's nice and even. They say, and this is at the state fair level. So I was like, okay, well, I'm doing that right. So yeah, you do get that. Like, yeah, you might get some feedback that says, hey, yeah, you need to improve on this. But on the flip side, you can also get things where you weren't sure if you're doing it right, and then find out, hey, I'm doing it really, I'm doing much better than I expected here. So yeah, I think that's fantastic. But I think even as a seasoned professional, as you may call it, which I'm not, disclaimer, we can all still learn from stuff, you know. So there we go. Good morning to Miss Dawn. It's good to see you from my quilt projects. I don't have your link in the new bot at the moment, but I'm going to get it in next week. We switched over to Streamlabs because Nightbot was not being my friend. So, all right, I think what we're going to do here real quick, if I can get this thing to work. Where did you go? CloudBot. Why do I have to log in? I don't want to log in. I thought I already was logged in. Hang on. God, we gotta go to loyalty and add points. Let's just do that. All right. I've just added some points to everybody. So those that have already been happily gambling away and have gone down to 0, you should all have some extra points now. So let's see if that works for you. Because we're just doing this for fun. Okay, yeah. So if you do decide to do the quilt show, yeah, definitely let us know how you make out and how you do at that, because I'd be very, very interested to hear that and the critiques and that sort of thing there. Usually when I get my quilts back, they I think lining up some of the squares I sometimes don't get 100% right. So that's usually the biggest critique I get. I think the one where I had an ice cream one, some of the sashing wasn't right, and that sort of thing there. And it can be kind of hard to take that sometimes. But at the end of the day, if you sit there and think about it, it does help. It has helped me as a quilter with those critiques there as well. So I think that's fantastic. But yeah, there you go. That'd be fun. But yeah, you might have some tough competition there up in the Ohio area too, because you got the Mennonite and the Amish ladies and that sort of thing there that contend with as well. But
yeah, I have no ambitions of ever winning or even placing. I just want to be able to enter. That's sort of recognition for myself. That's sort of like I said, a little check off the box.
I think it's fun. Yeah, if you have the desire to do it, just do it. Have some fun with it. I remember my wife, she knits, and what was it, 2 or 3 years ago, she normally enters socks, and she's gotten like second place and first place pretty much every time she entered. And she made this beautiful shawl, and I told her, I said, go ahead and enter that thing. She's like, I don't know if it's any good, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, and I told her, I said, look, I've already paid the $1 fee to enter the thing. We're taking it up there. And so we got to the state fair a couple of weeks later. We walk around the corner, and there is a first place ribbon hanging on that thing. And we didn't know till later on it had actually won best in section.
No kidding.
Yeah. So you really can surprise yourself sometimes. And this was something that she was convinced that wasn't going to do any good. Like, there you go. Joyce says her and her son are going to the casino this week, but hopefully they'll have better luck. Yes, that would be good. Like, this is just fun stuff. Yeah, it's different when you have real money.
So yeah, I was tell you, I don't know if you knew this or not, but I wrote a book, and the reason I wrote a book was because I just wanted to write. I wanted to be able to go to the library and pull a book off the shelf and go, "That's my book."
Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's sort of like the quilt thing, is I just want to be able to go and say, "That's my quilt."
Yeah, not for sure. Good morning to Miss Sheila. It's good to see you as well. I did see you pop in. Good morning, Miss Kelly. I don't know if I said good morning to you earlier or not. I mean, sometimes this chat moves really quickly, and now that I've added the games, that's making it even work more. But it works out really nicely for us too, because it's more interaction with the channel. It helps YouTube know that you guys are actually enjoying yourselves and actually are actively watching rather than just wandering off to the distance, which I do from time to time. So there's no shame in that. But yeah, this is fun. Okay, so it looks like Michelle's here as well. Yeah, Dawn says we are our own worst critics. Oh, for sure. I am definitely my own worst critic. I mean, there is no question about that at all. So, where did it go? Where I put those, it's fine. We don't really need it. Okay, so Joyce is having fun with the games. I'm glad that's an option for you guys now. I just figured it was something fun to put on there and see what happens. I enjoy it over on Danny's channel. So, and so do you have any plans with your channel going forward? Are you just planning on just continuing to document your quilts? Do you have any idea, like plans to like do tutorials or anything else, like, or have you not really thought that far ahead?
Well, I never started this channel to be a tutorial channel. It was sort of
Right.
just to track my progress. I have been starting to do blocks, and uh, showing different blocks. But other than that, we've been just sort of taking it as it comes. I don't even know what I'm doing until I do the video.
Hey, and it's not, yeah, I think that's fantastic, and people are obviously loving it, because they keep coming to watch it, and you're doing wonderfully subscriber wise. I mean, you've done more in 4 months than I have in like 3.5 years, so which is fantastic. So yeah, you're definitely doing. Charlotte is asking here. She says that your button jar has been a topic of conversation at the local library quilt group recently. Have you gotten any buttons from Shirts, Texas? I hope I pronounced it right, because I know some Shirts.
From Texas?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've gotten several from Texas.
Okay.
I've got one from the Netherlands the other day. So I mean, and Australia, I get several from Australia and New Zealand even.
Oh, nice.
So that's fantastic. That was just sort of an off the wall thing. I bought this new cubicle, and I was just trying to fill it with things, and I had this big jar in my garage, and I was like, well, I could bring that jar in and set it on the shelf. And then I was like, how can I give back to the viewers and become, a little interactive with everyone? At first I started thinking how about everybody send me their broken needles? And then I quickly said, no, bad idea. So I was trying to figure out something small that wouldn't cost people very much to mail, that most people have. So that's how the button thing started.
Gotcha. I was just saying, I must have missed that video because I didn't know. Hadn't heard about that. I'll have to go check that out. But I think it's fun. Yeah, if it's funny, like you've got that and you're like, okay, I haven't filled that yet. And I'm thinking, okay, let's do another live together in 12 months and we'll just see how that's changed.
Yeah. Well, that's why I said some people said that they had big cans of buttons they could send me. I said, well, no, the object isn't to try to fill it up as fast as you can.
Right.
The object is, what I said is, you try to attach a memory, like, of your kids growing up. If you have 3 kids, send me 3 buttons. If you have a memory of sewing with your grandpa or grandma or your mom or dad or whoever,
right.
Say that this button represents my memory of that. And that's what I was hoping that it would become. Awesome. I still don't know what it's going to become, but yeah, we got a long way to go to fill that jar.
Excellent. Yes, if you need more information on that, definitely duck over to Barry's channel. We had a link for Barry, which should be !Barry, but I don't know if that one's working. But !guest will definitely get you there. And if you're watching a replay, you can also look at the description. It will be there as well. Okay, so the Barry one is working now. Apparently it just took Streamlabs a little bit of time to wake up this morning, but it is working. So I am so thankful for that. Good morning to Miss Donna from Handmade by Ying. It's so good to see you. I think we have your link in already. Let's see. Mariah says hi. Oh, it's good to see you. Good morning, Miss Chloe. Good morning to Miss Cherie. Jamie from the Quilting Compound is here as well. Good morning. I saw a bunch of people come in, but we're talking, and I was like, I've got to go back and say hi to people. So there we go. Oh, wow, it's almost 9 o'clock already. Time is absolutely flying this morning, which is a good,
having fun.
Thing. Good morning, Miss Andy. It's good to see everybody. So yeah, I was going to ask you a question, and now I've forgotten what it was. Dickens, was I got to ask?
Pick another one.
I'm going to have to now. Because yeah, you're talking about the buttons. Oh, that's what it was. Okay, yeah. You're talking about like having, like if the memory attached to the button, like grandma teaching you sewing, that sort of thing there. Does anyone else in your family sew, quilt, anything else? Like, you have the advantage of having someone teach you, or are you a proud YouTube University graduate like me?
Yeah, YouTube University. But when I was 10 years old, my grandmother, we had large family, but she took me and my cousin for a week. We were like 10.
Okay.
And she said she would never keep us ever again after that week. But I think to calm us down, she had us, and back then there was no rulers that I know of. She had cardboard cutout templates, and we would sit there with a pencil or a pen and trace out, a triangle on that fabric. And then she gave us a pair of scissors and we cut them out. So that was my first experience at quilting, and that's a very fond memory for me. Other than that, no one in my home sews or even cares. I even mention quilts, they start rolling their eyes.
And I think that's a reason some of us have a channel, is because, if you are in a situation where family and friends aren't quilters, they don't really get it, and they're just like, would you just please be quiet? So it's kind of nice having this outlet where you are along like-minded folks. I think
exactly.
I think it was Tasha and I were talking about that on a live together once, where she's like, my husband, her husband tolerate, like he supports her and everything else there, but they don't get it like we do. So, it's nice having this where we can just hop on and talk to like-minded folks. And I think that's one of the beauties of having like YouTube and other social media platforms for crafters and that sort of thing there, is you can connect with people, especially if you live alone or you live in a rural area where your nearest guild is miles and miles or kilometers and kilometers away. Because it's like that here. I don't really have a guild that meets on a weekend because I work full time. On a weekend where I can actually go. So I actually started my own online guilds.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
went to this last quilt show the other day, and they gave me a form to join their guild. It's probably about 30 miles away, but that's not that far.
Yeah.
And they got a deal where the membership's usually $40, but they are offering until August for 20. So I was like, you know what? For $20, I'll join it.
Mm-hmm.
Just
go check it out and see. Go check it out and see if it's a good fit for you. So there you go. Mimi Sewing Station says, yes, my daughter wants a quilt done, but when I tried to talk to her about her black sheep, she just looks at me and says, are you even talking about quilting stuff? I don't care. So she just wants the finished product. That's sad. Well, you're always welcome to talk to us about it all day long. We are here for you. We love quilting. And you got friends here that will happily talk to you about the quilting stuff. And that's one of the things I really, really enjoy about this. So there we go. Oh, thank you for doing that, Andy. Yeah, she says, if anyone wants to join me and Sean to talk about YouTube growth, this is our Discord. That is for content creators. So we have a small group, the Discord for that. So definitely check that out. We don't do anything real serious. We just bounce ideas off each other and that sort of thing now. But if you're a content creator, definitely check out that link that Andy has, and if you can't remember it, just reach out to one of us and we'll make sure we get you set up with that as well. So that is a good resource for everybody. So, but I never expected to do lives when I started this channel, but everyone kept asking for it, and I was like, okay, let me try it out. And now it's something I look forward to each and every week. So I'm so glad that you all talked me into it, and that's what we do now. All right. We are making progress, which is nice. Not very much, but that's okay too. Okay, let's see. What else have we got going on here? Okay, so everyone's gone quiet, but that's okay. Talked about that. We talked about that. Okay, so this will be an interesting question for you. Is where do you normally shop for fabric? Do you go online? Do you go to a fabric store? Oh, I have to change that. Well, because it says here fabric store, Joanne, etc. I guess we're not going to Joanne no more because they're going out of.
Well, that was it. I'm not too far. So going forward, I'm not too far from Amish country, and there's
Oh, nice.
a place up there called Zinks, and people tell me that is the place to go. And so I want to check, and they're reasonably priced. I also been seeing this. How about this factory fabric warehouse or something online? Have you shopped there?
No, I have not, but I'll have to go check it out. Um,
I just
but yeah,
keep showing up. You know, once you search for something, and then you start getting all these ads.
oh yeah, yeah. But no, the Amish country has some wonderful quilt shops. I think we went to I forget the name of the place. Was it Intercourse, not Virginia, Intercourse, Pennsylvania, or somewhere near there? And there was like this little community, and there was like 4 or 5 quilt shops like within like soaring, rock soaring distance of each other, and that's a lot of fun. Donnell and I know Donna, she's still floating around here. She'll definitely be able to tell you that because I remember seeing her with photos standing and her mates all standing in front of this place. So yeah, but they have some beautiful quilt shops in that area. So if you get a chance to check that out,
this is more of a fabric shop than a quilt shop. And so they had prices that looked to be in line with what you would get at Joann's.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I have hopes.
Yeah. And you said that's fairly close by?
Well, within, I'd say 2 hours. So, I mean, it's not someplace I'm going to go up there
every day,
every week, which is probably a good thing for me.
I was about to say the same thing. Sometime, like I've got one little quilt store that's about 20 minutes from me. And then the quilt shop I normally go to in person called Fabric Hut, it's a good, from my house, it's like 45 minutes. It's like 25 minutes from the office. And it's good that like it's close enough that I can go to if I need to, but it's far enough away that I really have to make an effort to go there. So I'm not like hanging out there like a coffee shop every 5 minutes because then I'd be broke. So I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not a fabric guru yet. I mean, I don't know. I can hardly tell the difference between cotton and polyester. So,
right.
The only way I was able to judge any fabric, I bought some online, was that I could see through it, and I was like, that's probably not the best quality.
What was it? I think I saw online somewhere once where they said you can tell by if you get a small piece of it and you set fire to it. And if you get ash, it's cotton or a natural material, and if it melts, it's polyester because it's like a plastic.
No. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not saying set fire to a whole yard of it, but if you have like a little scrap and you can do it safely, that's a way to do it. And Joyce is saying the same thing. If you don't know, burn it. So yeah, that's the way I've always heard it as well. Andy says she's thankful her husband tolerates her visits to quilt shops when we travel. I was able to collect those license plates for a while. That's awesome. My wife and I do a really good job because, whenever we travel, she likes to go to yarn shops. So if we can, but it seems like most times when we travel, the quilt shops wherever we go, the quilt shops have weird hours. And so I don't really get to a lot of quilt shops, but it is fun to go into them. So like we do a trade-off, she can go to some yarn shops and then I go to a quilt shop. So we've got a good, thing there. Misty's asking, is anyone doing the Mystery 5.0 event today with cotton cuts? I have the prepaid kit for that. I won't be able to do it today because we do have some fun activities planned for the girls, but I will do that later on because apparently I can go watch the videos later, at least I hope so. And if not, then I'll be making up my own pattern. But that is a lot of fun. If you haven't seen that already, you can go over to the Cotton Cuts Facebook group and check out what that is. It's going to be a mini mystery quilt. It's, I think, like 22 by 22. And this might be something good for you to look at some point because there's a lot of half square triangles. And you can shop your own stash. I think you need 5 or 6 different colors or fabrics, and you can just make up this little mini mystery quilt. So that'd be fun as well. So I've got the kit here somewhere. But today's such a lovely day outside. It's supposed to be in the mid-70s, so we got to take the kids out and show them show them the ocean and that sort of thing there as well. So, life of me, I can't find the time it starts for those who have pre-cut kits. I think it starts at like 9:30, 10 o'clock. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can find that for you real quick, Misty. Facebook. Hold up. I can't remember because I knew I wasn't going to be here for it. So I didn't pay too much attention. I'm terrible. No, search Facebook. Okay. Mystery 5. Mystery. Okay. So let's see. We might. There was emails and stuff about it floating around yesterday, I think. So, right. There was an email about it. I swear. I know I saw an email about it. Now I can't find it. I know the pre-cuts first. I think it starts at like 9:30 or so. Check your email. If you bought the kit, they should have sent you an email the other day, and it will tell you when it starts. And there, it's like 30 minutes between each video or something. It's supposed to be really, really quick, which is fun. So I just don't remember all the details. So I knew I was going to have to come back and watch the replay for that. So I didn't pay too much attention to it, unfortunately. So if someone knows, let us know in the chat. 9 o'clock Central Standard Time is what Chloe's saying. So that's 10 o'clock. So you have a little, we'll finish up here. You can go get your coffee, get your iron, turned on and all that good stuff, and then duck over there and start that fun event. I wish I was able to join in today, but it's just not to be. But we'll have a good day, and you'll get to see some of that footage tomorrow morning with my podcast as well. So there we go. All right, so yeah, we'll have to fix that question that says Joanne, because okay, all right. So these are I always love asking these questions because everybody has a different answer. What is your favorite part of the quilting process, and what is your least favorite, like from start to finish?
Well, like I said, sewing is my favorite. If I can sit here and just rattle off my sewing machine, I would be in heaven. I don't like when I get the yardage and try to cut it down to squares. Although I'm not a big fan of buying the pre-cuts just because of the cost.
Right.
Probably, and only because I'm not good at it yet. The thing I hate the most is binding, but I bought a book. I know Mona said she owns a book, 101 pot holder. So I'm hoping that if I start doing some of those, I will learn binding really quick.
Yeah, and that's something that I keep meaning to do, and I keep forgetting. But I do need to do a video on binding because I struggled with binding at the beginning, big time. It was horrible. I hated it. I was almost ready to pay someone to do it for me. And then I finally found a video on Craftsy, I think it was. And this lady kind of explained it, and it clicked. And ever since, it's been fantastic. So I think it's just a case of figuring it out. I do want to do a video on that, and I really should do it the next couple of weeks. So yeah, once it comes out, I'll definitely let you know. And yeah, I found it.
Go ahead.
For me, I found that it's an easy way of doing it. It's foolproof, and I think once you grasp it, binding goes to one of those things that you don't hate anymore. For me, I love it because it's the end of the road. Because once you finish that, your quilt's done and away you go. And I've gotten pretty good at it. And the State Fair judges seem to like it. So there you go. Let's see. Mike says he likes pressing the most. That's awesome. My mother loves ironing everything. She used to iron all our clothes. She used to iron the underwear. She was like a ironing queen. And then both her kids that sew don't like ironing that much, which is, I always find that hilarious. Charlotte's asking, how's my new machine doing? I'm absolutely loving the new machine. So yeah, it's been an absolute joy. I really do feel like I made the right decision for me with this. So I don't have any buyer's remorse, which I was really worried about. Okay, Nikki said she hates binding. Let's see. Diana says favorite planing because I usually don't use patterns. Least favorite sandwiching. Yes, me too. I am not. I avoid making the quilt sandwich as long as I physically can. That's probably why I have a pile of quilt top sitting over there. That's definitely my least favorite. A lot of people seem to like picking out the fabrics too. It seems like. So you said you like the sewing, and then binding is kind of your least favorite, correct?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say it's my least favorite. It's the thing that I struggle with the most, and so I don't
Okay.
look forward to it. But and when I say binding, I don't have a problem with actually sewing the binding on. It's the corners that kill me.
Okay, so for that, that's fairly easy to do. I always stop about a quarter inch from the corner, and then you fold it at a 90-degree angle, then flip it again, and then continue on your merry way. It's a fairly easy process once you've done it once or twice. But yeah, definitely check out some videos on that. And as I said, I'll try and put mine out fairly soon too, because I keep talking about it, and I just really need to give myself a deadline and say, Sean, you need to get it out by mid-April. So I think I've got a small. I think I have one of these gnomes that I can use for that tutorial. I just have to sit still long enough to be able to do it. Right, so we got this. This is like the little gnome's nose.
Yeah.
And then did I attach? Oh, I did attach it. Okay, look at that. Look at me go. Ruth says sandwiching is a hard physical exercise. Does anyone know how many calories you burn by sandwiching? That's a good question. Yeah, so now that I hear sandwiching, I'm thinking of like eating sandwiches. So I'm good at that. I don't mind eating sandwiches. Maybe we should just do that instead.
Me too.
All right, excellent. Okay, so we're getting close to the end. It's almost time to start wrapping things up because I always like to say we have to do a Southern goodbye because it takes like 10 or 15 minutes. I don't know if you've ever been to like a Southern family reunion.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'm from Kentucky, so
Well, that's Southern enough, I think.
How Southern you want to go. I always say I'm 30 miles the way the crow flies from where the Hatfield McCoys are from. So
that's yeah. We went to a family reunion once in North Carolina, and I was told we all got to leave at 4, and my father-in-law, my wife said, okay, look, it's 3 o'clock. Okay, we got to start leaving now. And I'm like, okay, I thought we were leaving at 4. It's like 2:55. She's like, just watch. And yeah, like I was ready to walk straight to the car. Like I was done. I was ready to go home. But my father-in-law had to stop and talk to each family member on the way out. So yeah, 2:40. I think even though we started leaving at 2:55, we didn't leave till like 4:15. So yeah, the Southern goodbye is definitely a real thing. All right. Good morning, Pat. I don't know that I said good morning to you earlier. It's good to see you here as well. Brenda says her favorite is starting, pulling, fabric, prepping, and cutting. I don't mind. Selecting the fabric's fun too, like especially when I'm doing my little piecing because I can chop from my stash. Because I only need tiny little pieces of fabric, and I always have plenty of scraps laying around. I like going to the fabric store. Sorry?
Do you like to do the kits?
Usually not. I bought a bunch of kits when I started off because Craftsy back in those days had some really good pricing on those, and I bought like 5 or 6 kits. I generally don't buy kits now because I like to put my own spin on it, but there are occasions where I do get kits, like the Winnie the Pooh one that I'm working on right now. I bought the kit just because I thought the fabrics were fantastic. The same thing for the Alice in Wonderland. And then I did buy a kit for another pattern called Dog Park, just again, because I like the colors. So I do buy kits on occasion, but generally I like to go out and get my own thing because a lot of times I like to change the background color.
No.
For whatever reason. Good morning, Miss Heather. It's good to see you. I was thinking about you yesterday. I was like, I haven't seen Miss Heather in a while. I hope she's doing okay. So it's good to see you here. seems like every time I think of somebody, they show up. Like, pity the the lottery people don't do that. With a nice big check, or the what are those people called? The Publishers Clearinghouse that come with that big check and everything else. So maybe Misty says,
How about
"LOL, I didn't know it was a Southern thing. My mum and I say goodbye at least 3 times before we actually hang up, and always laugh about this. All this last minute thing." Yeah, I remember one time I used to work in a rail yard, and I was talking to one of the railroad police officers, and he comes out to look at something, and I was out there talking to him for 40. Well, I was out there listening to him for 45 minutes, and he kept telling me, "I've got to go," and then he like, just kept jabber jawing, and finally he left. But I was like, I never said a word to this dude. It was just him telling me stories, and but he told me like 5 times he had to leave. I'm like, I'm not the one. I'm not the one stopping you. So that happens. Good morning, Miss Fallon. It's good to see you as well.
Yeah.
Hope you're doing okay. Heather says she's doing better than they were a few weeks ago. That is good to hear. All right.
Yeah, that's what I like about YouTube channel is I have the gift for gab, and nobody tells me to shut up.
No, I know that's the beauty. And you're among like-minded folks, so they like it. This is like the only time I really talk a whole lot to anybody. Like, if you see me in the office or you see me out and about, I am like the most shy, reserved, introverted person in the world. Like, if you look up the definition of introvert in the dictionary, my photo should be staring there at you. If not, you've got an old version of the dictionary. It needs to be updated. But yeah, you get me on here, and I don't shut up either. So,
well, I'm hoping. I hope if any of you ever see me out, what you see should be what you get when you meet me in person. So you might be shocked, because I never meet a person that I never meet what do you call it, a person that I don't know. I say hi to everybody.
Yeah, and that's fun, and it's always nice. And I tend to be more quiet and reserved, but again, if you happen to find me wandering around the streets, please say hi. Introduce yourself, because I probably don't know what you look like, because you'll see me every week, but I don't see you. So, but I mean, people come up to me all the time in the store and start talking to me, even though I don't know who these people are. But I guess I had that look on my face like I'm friendly or something. But that happens to me all the time. Especially like shorter little ladies that need help with stuff on the top shelf, which I'm more than happy to help them with. Like I'd hate to be able to not get something. I actually told them, there was one lady trying to climb up the shelves one time, trying to get something down, and I yelled at her and said, "Get down," because I was worried that shelf was going to let. I was worried that shelf was going to let go. I was like, I wouldn't be doing that if I were you.
That's why I'm popular at my community center. They use me to get stuff off the top shelf.
So you're fairly tall as well?
What's that?
Are you fairly tall too?
No, I'm 5'9". I'm shrinking actually as I get older, but I'm taller than they are.
Oh, okay.
Brenda asked if I'm looking for a woman with a long arm. Yeah, that was sort of a joke. I said, there used to be a joke where it says a guy looking for a woman that that can cook, clean, and fish, and has a boat. Send photo of boat.
Right.
I switched it to a woman that quilts and has a long arm. Send photo of the long arm.
Right. Yeah. I'm one of it's nice having the long arms out there for sure. I don't know that I'll ever really be interested in doing it myself, but I don't know. Like, some of the bigger ones I'll probably send out at some point, but for the most part, I like to be able to do it from start to finish. But that's just me. So Mike says, people talk to me all the time. I wish they would stop. LOL. I think we just had that look in our face, like, please talk to me. So there you go. Janice says that she's very shy, but I can talk your ear off. LOL. Yeah, I think it's like that's one of those things with introverts that people don't really get, is that it's not that we don't want to talk to you, is that we have to have a common interest. Like, it's not, small talk is not important to us. Whereas if you want to talk to me about quilting, I'll happily talk your ear off for years and years and years. So there you go. Ingrid says she called a local chimney company to set up an appointment. Was on the phone with the woman for 45 minutes, listening to some great stories about their family business. I get that with customers as well. Sometimes like they'll ask me about my, where I came from and that sort of thing. There was one lady I talked to, I think she's from Sri Lanka, and she was trying to tell me where Sri Lanka is, and I'm like, I know exactly where it is because my best friend's stepmom was from there. So yeah, and now we get on the phone, we sit there and talk to each other for 10 or 15 minutes. So I totally get that. All right, so I think with this, we probably will start saying goodbye to everybody because it's almost 9:30 here in the East Coast, and yeah, we got some fun events for the girls planned today. Barry, do you have anything coming up on your channel that you'd like to tell folks about?
It's a surprise.
Okay. So what that means is okay, so what that means is you need to go over to Barry's channel if you have not already done so. I'm throwing the link up again as long as Streamlabs is behaving itself. Come on. Any day now. Oh, don't tell me you've quit working now. That's sad. Oh, there it is. It takes its time. Go over to his channel, go watch some videos, hit the like button on the ones you like. And then if you enjoy what you're looking at, hit that subscribe button and the notifications. And here is my service announcement for everybody yet again, because it seems like folks are not getting the notifications. So if you're not seeing notifications from your favorite streamers or content creators, whatever channels, go ahead and unclick the notification bell and re-click it. It seems like YouTube is doing some cleaning out and that sort of thing there. So if you aren't seeing those notifications, make sure you go onto those channels, make sure those notification bells are reset, and that should hopefully solve that problem there for you as well. So, okay, so yeah, apparently Arizona has lots of quilters in the retirement communities of long arms. I think, yeah, John over at Guys Craft 2 has that. So yeah, there you go. I might have to go to Arizona one day there as well. Charlotte says, happy sewing, everyone. Yes, apparently I need to go to Arizona, Michigan. Is there anywhere else I need to go anytime soon? All I need now is the time and the money to go too. That'd be fun. No? Okay. All right. Excellent. All right. Well, I think with that, we'll go ahead and say goodbye. Thank you, each and every one of you, for checking out today's live. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button. And if you're watching the replay, let us know where you're watching from. I always love hearing where everybody's from. So with that, I'll see you all tomorrow morning. Go check out Barry's channel. I hope you'll have a great day. And before we go, yes, 10 o'clock, you can go over to Miss Donnell's and check out her live. And then at 11, we'll have Russ, and I'll have to go grab his link because I don't have him in yet. That's terrible. Where is it? I just had it here a minute ago. Next week will be more organized because I notice he works now, which will be good. All right, so Russ at 11. And then you can go over, and there's plenty more throughout the day there as well. So I hope you all have a great day. Happy sewing, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Okay.